there! Welcome to the State of Decay 2 stream. I'm your host, Geoffrey Card, and over here we've got Brian Giaime. He's a senior systems designer, and he was instrumental in creating the Choose Your Own Apocalypse update, and he's here to answer your questions. Brant's here to look pretty. So let's get right to it. So Brant is going to get started with a nightmare mode game.
New community.
Using the brand new select your maps in UX.
Yep, look at this.
You can choose whatever map you want.
Or random and not choose at all.
Or random and not get the one you wanted.
Exactly.
So,
What if
do
you
guys
don't know what you want?
Shall we? What shall we do?
I don't care.
I'm gonna go to the valley.
Okay,
Go
go for
Valley.
it. That sounds great. So we're doing a lot of stuff here today. We're showing off the Choose Your Own Apocalypse update, which has just landed in the Xbox Store, the Microsoft Store on your PC. Go check it out. All you got to do, it's not paid DLC. It's a free update. So just go check it out. It should download pretty automatically, and you can just play it right now, today. Or you could keep watching the stream, because we're going to do some giveaways. We're going to have a lot of fun on here. A couple of things we're going to also show you. We're going to talk about the Mixbot giveaway we're doing. We're going to show you guys some of the stuff that shows up in the patch notes. Because not only are we doing the Choose Your Own Apocalypse update, which is this big new update that adds difficulty modes and a bunch of cool stuff, but we are also adding a bunch of other little things to the game all at the same time.
You'll notice on this screen, since we don't have any legacies cleared in Nightmare, we have to start over.
Yep.
And the same is true for Dread Zone.
Yeah.
Now-
Once we earn these in Nightmare, we've got them for Nightmare and Dread.
Okay.
So whenever
That
you
was-
unlock
And standard.
them, you can use them in any lower difficulty zones under the one you unlocked it.
Yeah, so just go ahead and finish all the legacies on Nightmare to start.
Without the help of any other legacies.
Yeah. If you're brand new to the game, just start on Nightmare mode. Or don't do that.
That's not this is not what we recommend.
All right. So let's get some people started.
Okay,
I'm
we're just gonna go random
Full random?
survivors,
Full random.
except I need to go until we find a particular person here. Because we
yeah.
Yep.
we also have a little bit of a memorial. One of our own passed away last week, and
You may have actually been playing as him and not known it.
yeah, Mike, and he was an integral part of State of Decay from the very beginning. And I would like to find. There he is. That was so bad.
Oh, that's
That was not.
not in great taste.
Yeah, we're not going to.
Thanks a lot, game.
Right?
There
There
he
we
is.
go.
Okay, and he's mechanics. Good.
And a heavy hitter.
Geoffrey
All right.
Buchanan is who he's going to be for now.
All
Nice and
right.
Memorable.
Starting community.
Let's go.
Granted, none of these people are going to survive, but rest in peace, Mike.
Yep.
Yeah, we miss you.
They'll do Brant's best.
I will do Brant's best, which we all know isn't going to get us anywhere.
All right. Well, we've got our first achievement of the 16 new achievements that we've
Yep.
got with the Choose Your Own Apocalypse update.
Still rare if you get
the,
them now.
If the others are hard, that's the only one I will ever see.
So, no, a couple of them are actually based on losing survivors.
Perfect.
So you're going to
You'll
get
get
those.
those.
It's going to be great.
All right.
See,
So same start as you usually get. You know, the game plays out the same way story-wise. It's really just the challenges in between, the zombies that you face, and everything else that goes horribly wrong. But you guys have seen this part before. So while we're talking about, while the game is sort of in
I
the
just
opening
skipped it.
stages, there's a couple things we got to talk about. One of them is we've got we're doing a Mixpot giveaway right now, which is I don't know if you guys have heard of these. Basically, if you're logged into Mixer and you're watching a particular Mixer channel, playing a particular game for a particular period of time, you can get prizes. And so we've got a whole bunch of prizes queued up for people who watch State of Decay 2 on our channel. So we've got our stream going right now. We're also going to be hosting other channels, particularly during Decay Fest, which is this community event that's going on right now. There's a bunch of people who are streaming State of Decay 2, and so if you watch State of Decay 2 on our channel, you're entered to win a bunch of the packs, the special packs that originally came out from different retailers when the game was first released. Stuff like this. So you can see, you guys remember these ads from when State of Decay 2 first came out? All of these, special weapons and special vehicles that you could only get if you bought the game at certain retailers. Well, now there's a new way to get them. You watch our channel this week playing State of Decay 2, and you can unlock this stuff. You'll get all of them if you win the drawing, and there's going to be like thousands of winners. We can give away almost as many of these as we want.
Keep going.
So definitely watch our channel, get yourself entered in, because this is good stuff. You can't get this anywhere else. So let's quickly check back in with what's going on. You guys clearing out the house? Are you already dead?
Just about.
What is it? We already managed to find a feral. Got the car banged up a little bit.
A feral in the first couple minutes of the game?
Feral in the
Who
first
would do
minute.
that?
Hi. Nah, there's a reason why we have dread zones and nightmare zones. If you want an increased challenge over the game that you know, feel free to check out Dread. If you feel like you already know all there is to know, and like State of Decay just doesn't have any challenges for you, maybe consider jumping into Nightmare, where we're building something just for you if you feel like you already know all there is to know about State of Decay 2.
Is that more zombies coming in from the outside?
Yep.
Hey there, buddies.
It's a few. They're just saying hi.
Even this section, there's just a few more zombies coming into just this first house clearing sequence than usual, probably because they can hear you better now.
Yeah, so as soon as we sprint through that door, right, that always makes a lot of noise that a lot of zombies can hear. In the versions of the game we've been playing up until now, those zombies might forget about that sound before they got all the way to the house. In Nightmare specifically, the duration in which the zombies remember a sound that they heard is much, much higher, something like 5 to 10 times as long. So they will find you from as far away as they can exist.
Hi, Abra.
Take them all out anyway.
No, new neighbor. This is how we feel about neighbors.
Didn't bring any pie?
Nope, that's
Really?
what
Not
happens.
even like a loaf of bread?
Always bring something.
Really? It's just polite. There are some folks talking about debating whether or not they want to go right to Nightmare with their community that they've loved for a long time, full of their awesome kitted out Red Talon survivors. If you want to, that's something you can consider. It is not a crazy idea to try a brand new community on Nightmare first just to get a feel for all the changes. After we play tested this thing internally for a few months, people started to develop pretty different habits about how they actually played the game. And so if you want to give yourself a chance to learn how the game feels with all the new tuning we've done, it's totally reasonable to start without your absolute favorite community with your absolute most invested survivors first. Get a feel for things, probably lose a few people in the process, and then bring them over when you feel like you got your feet under you.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest. But, some of you guys are crazy.
That's very true.
So Fusion 413 wants to know, can we still use legacy survivors to transfer equipment and things like that to brand new communities?
You can. If what you want to do with Nightmare Mode is you just want to show up into this incredible challenge and just bring with you everything you possibly can, you're totally able to do that.
In fact, you can take an existing... You don't even have to take legacy survivors. You can take an existing community that's already well-developed with like 10 survivors and a ton of facilities you've already built and stuff like that, and you can port that whole thing into a higher difficulty level. Now, it's just like you moved maps, so you have to rebuild all that stuff at your base again, but you still have all of the equipment, all of the people, everything that you had.
Yeah. So if we'll tab one over to the right. So what Geoffrey's talking about, you guys can see it right here.
Oops.
We're already on a Nightmare Zone, so we couldn't change to it. But you can change the difficulty of any community that's already in the game, that's already been around, to whatever zone that you want. It'll basically give you a fresh version of the map that you're on, but configured for that difficulty. So if you're on Nightmare, a lot of the sites will be looted already. You'll find more zombies right away. If you go back down to Standard from Nightmare, it'll be the game that you're familiar with. You can go back down to Dread for something in between the two.
So one of the things we wanted to do today is talk about not just the Dread zones and the Nightmare zones, because you're going to see those on the screen. Let's talk a little bit about the patch notes. All the little tiny weird changes that we made at the same time that we were building the new difficulty mode.
Which Geoffrey has laboriously documented and gone to great lengths to make sure that we all understand in totality.
So if you go to stateofdecay.com, you can see a full breakdown and reread these, but we're going to go through them with you. The first one I want to show you guys, though, is something I'm going to move away from the gameplay for a second to show you guys some screenshots. We have added a feature to the game that lets you manage your legacy survivors. So each time you complete a playthrough of State of Decay 2, and you're earning a legacy boon, and your characters are being added to the pool of survivors you can pull from for your later communities, you actually get to control which ones go in. Let me show you this. So this is what it looks like when you are when you've just completed a legacy. Right above me here, you've got your characters that are incoming from your current community that just completed. Then over there are all of the characters that you have already saved from past completed playthroughs. And you'll notice here, this says 57 out of 50 survivors retained. So I've got 49 survivors already in my legacy pool, and I'm bringing 8 more, and so the total is 57. And so I can't continue from here. I can't, go with 57 survivors. I have to keep it limited to 50. And before, what we used to do, out of necessity, was just get rid of 7 survivors that we chose, that are we had an algorithm that would choose which 7 we thought were the least valuable to you. And we often got that wrong, and it caused some problems. And so now you choose it yourself. You pick which ones are going to get deleted, and this is what that looks like. Right here. So you click the people that you want to delete. They get a horrific skull over them to represent the fact that you're basically taking them behind the woodshed and shooting them in the head. And then once you get that under 50, you can continue. And you can see the character sheet for each of the characters. We've got Darragh Weller here, the Scotsman, who is apparently somebody we were thinking of deleting. And that's what it looks like. So the next time you complete a legacy, you're going to see this screen, and you get to control your collection of characters. So we should go back to see what... Oh, you guys, your car is already practically on fire.
It actually starts off pretty close to this. So one of the things we learned by watching our players sort of play the game over time is that cars can be weapons for many players. They can be the primary weapons for some players. So one of the bigger changes you'll notice playing on Nightmare Zones is that you just can't hit your car that many times. You can't run over as many zombies, you can't go over as many cliffs, and you definitely can't have as many zombies grappling onto the car. You're going to want to take care of these things. They're a little bit more precious. They're a little bit more vital. It costs more fuel to fill up a gas can at home. The amount of repair kits and gas cans you find out in the map is going to be less. And so you got to treat them a little bit more like something precious and a little bit less like a throwaway, common, everyday event.
One big question. If I start... This is from Spectre Saunders. If I start Nightmare with a current community with 2 boons, do I keep them for the new playthrough?
If you start if you take an existing community?
If the very first thing you do
Yeah.
is you've got an existing community in Standard, and you bump it up to Nightmare, and they've already got 2 boons, do they keep the boons or lose the boons?
So you won't get to keep your boons, but if the boons you picked were based on items, so like say for example the Warlord boon where we put a bunch of items in your inventory, we're not going to go and surgically remove what we think is appropriate from your inventory. You're going to keep that. But stuff like the Builder boon where you've got water and power applied freely forever, those things aren't going to come with you. So if you want the ability to have the boons given to you when you start a new community, or to carry them when you switch communities, you'll need to earn those boons in Nightmare to use them in Nightmare.
Yeah, so we have some players who are planning to start a brand new community in Nightmare, try to earn each of those boons in Nightmare, and then graduate their favorite community with the boons already earned, and that should work. We had when somebody asked that in an earlier stream, and Brandon, one of our testers, ran off and checked it, and it definitely works. So sometimes we don't even know what works and what doesn't, because there's a lot of stuff going on in this update, but that one does work. So if that's the strategy you need, then go for it.
That is the way to do it.
Do Blood Plague Juggernauts get annihilated when you kill a plague heart near them?
I'm actually not sure.
I got the impression that the answer probably was no.
I think we just kill the regular zombies. I'm not sure what we do with freaks in that case.
My tentative answer is no from hearing chatter around the team when they were making that decision, but I can't promise that it didn't change.
I know I went back and forth on how effective it was killing a plague heart. Just because
Yeah.
one of the things that people did a lot of before we did the Choose Your Own Apocalypse update was you'd see people just sort of ignore the zombies and rush the plague heart, which is
Yeah.
one of the reasons why we made the change to noisemakers. So one of the bigger things you'll notice if you're very familiar with State of Decay is that if you throw firecrackers around zombies, the zombies will still care about the firecrackers, but they won't care about them so much that they'll ignore you.
Yeah, so, and that's true of in Dread and Nightmare zones. Now in Standard zones, they still work the way they always have.
Yep, we didn't
right?
change the rules there at all.
So you can have a
Oh,
zombie
boy.
chasing you, throw a firecracker on the ground, and they get attracted to the firecracker and ignore you.
Right.
But in Dread and Nightmare zones, that is not how they work.
Nope, you'll have to use those same items
Oh, boy.
proactively. Unlike
yeah.
what Brant is doing right now, where he's fleeing from the terror.
So you have to plan ahead and basically say, okay, first distract the zombies, then go inside, instead of using distractions as a last-minute thing for zombies that are chasing you.
Speaking of new stuff, some of you may have heard about our shiny new armored hordes, one of which is now about to make Brant's day very
I
pleasant.
really wish my people would come out and help me fight.
They're coming. They just burst through the door. Some of them are rushing him in the hallway.
One thing that's worth pointing out, one of the things that's in our patch notes is the fact that you notice that these guys chased Brant into his base. Now that should be the only way to get zombies into your base.
Yes.
It used to be that zombies would just wander into your base all the time for no reason. And we made some changes to their AI, so they actually actively avoid the bubble of safety that you'll see on the map around your base, your safe zone.
Yep.
They'll actively avoid your safe zone unless they can see you or hear you, and they're actually chasing you.
If they're not like locked onto you, then they won't go in there. And it's not just your base; that's any safe zone.
That's true. So any outpost, any enclave, anybody that's got a safe zone, or just a house that you've recently cleared,
Yep. So like
they'll avoid you.
Some players would talk about how in the first game, one of the strategies some players employed was outposting all around their house to create very large bubbles of safety. That's a little bit more viable with the logic that we have now than it was before.
Yeah. So Kermit Memes wants to know if you change to Dread Zone with all the mods, will all the mods that they have be transported with them?
Do you mean facility mods?
I think they mean facility mods. Actually, kind of both, right? I mean,
Weapon mods too?
Yeah, you
so
keep
not
your
not the mods that we don't officially support or not support. You mean
Oh.
the items? I
Oh,
assume.
wait, actually, yes, he means mods in the supply locker. When he went on, yes, it's clear he means
So-
mods. They're objects in the game.
Yes, you'll keep your stuff. The way to think about this is that changing difficulties is very similar to changing maps. When you change maps, you keep all your stuff, it just shows up somewhere else.
Yeah.
We literally build a new version of the world you're in and then move you to it. Even if it's using the same positions and the same like art, it is functionally a brand new version of that world that is harder. So all your stuff will travel with you as if it was a new map.
Yeah. So whatever you've gotten used to working during previous map changes, that's how it still works. Let's see here.
I'm just
Oh,
I am
Han Solo
terrified.
Dolo. Actually, you know what? Han Solo Dolo, he's asking a question about the patch notes. Let's just check out the patch notes.
Sure.
So we've already talked about the top thing in the patch notes, which is that we've got the new character manager that you can use to control your legacy pool. Next thing on the patch notes is this was a community request. You've seen this one before too. This is you can select your maps. That doesn't just apply to when you're starting in a new difficulty mode. Any new game you start, even in a standard zone, you still get to pick your map. So that's another new feature that is just universal.
You can also, when you move maps through the normal way, through an existing community, we actually give you the choice when you get to the edge of the map to
that's
then
right.
select which one you want. So
And even if you go through the tutorial and you go through that dialogue at the end, you still get the interface to choose your maps.
So-
we threw it in everywhere. to
That
make sure
one
you-
guy asks again, how does getting new legacies work with existing communities? If you switch to a higher level difficulty, it wipes all your boons.
Well, if you haven't earned them yet. So, like, if you've been playing on Nightmare a while and you've
Right.
already earned all those boons at Nightmare level, then switching up to Nightmare, you get to keep your boons.
Yep.
But it's when you're brand new to it, you have to earn each boon at each difficulty level before you can start a new community on that level with the boons, or graduate a community up to that level with the boons.
Right. The design of the boons was always to give you a little bit of extra power and sort of let you make the game a little bit easier just by having a lot of accomplishments because you've already beaten it once. But one of the goals with Dread and with Nightmare is to give you that sense of like fresh challenge all over again. And so letting people take all their boons directly with them would have undermined that. And the idea was to let you guys feel what it's like to feel when you don't have all those advantages, when you don't have all that
That's right.
built up understanding and investment, and work your way back up to that point if you can in this higher difficulty.
The big complaint was the first iteration of the game was too easy for many people, and we're not going to hear that.
No, that's not how this works
Hopefully
anymore. Some players are asking if you can switch back and forth to reset. If you want to, you can. It's ultimately like moving maps to the same map a couple of times.
Yeah.
It will reset the loot. It'll totally rebuild the map. It'll also respawn all the plague hearts. It's basically a fresh start every time.
So the next thing on our patch notes, there was a bug that players were reporting where when you had the leader selection interface up and you quit out of it, there were certain parts of it that would actually stay on screen indefinitely and kind of mess up the game until you had to actually completely quit out and come back in again to make it go away. That's fixed. That shouldn't be happening anymore.
All good now.
Another thing, when you complete a legacy now, instead of automatically starting a brand new game as soon as you've you've unlocked your legacy boon, we actually send you back to the main menu now, so that you can kind of decide. Once you actually, one thing that this is a little bit of designer psychology. We were really worried that players wouldn't realize that this is a game that you could play again and again, and have different characters and different experiences and different stories and different maps, and so. When you completed the game for the first time, we really wanted to make sure that players understood, hey, you can start a new one. You've got characters you can carry over into the next adventure, and go for it, guys. And so we kind of forced that path to send you to the next game. But people have been playing the game for a long time. I think most of our players kind of understand how it works, and you kind of have that moment when you've completed something where you kind of want to sit back and relax and say, yup, that's done. I'm going to go have a snack. and it's kind of annoying if we start a new game for you right at that moment. So we don't do that anymore. Now you go back to the main menu, and it's up to you when you want to start your next game. And then see here. I'm going through the user experience section here on our patch notes. The next thing on that list is when you're low on a resource. Actually, are we low on resources right now? Yeah.
There isn't a resource we're not low on.
Okay, so
Except for
meds
food.
is the worst, right?
We got food.
Yeah, we're literally out on meds.
So next time we're looking for some meds, you go to a place that has meds. Let's have a look at the rucksacks in the container, because
I'll go there right now.
they should actually show up a little bit differently now.
I'm
when
going to
you're
run there,
low on
though,
them.
because I don't want to drive because my car is about to explode.
Well, yeah, definitely going out there without any armored shell of metal around you is going to go extremely well.
No, I got this.
It'll be fine. We'll manage.
So notifications of positive events like influence rewards are now flashier and easier to notice. Basically, when people were facing the most difficult experiences they can have in State of Decay, particularly in the Nightmare Zone, the game got punishing and it wasn't rewarding enough. And so Brian and the rest of the team over there found several different ways to try to make the game feel more rewarding while you're facing these terrible, problems. One of them was adding a few extra influence rewards for doing cool things and making those influence rewards
there.
more noticeable. Oh, I think it's off.
So that one
the screen.
just happened with there's a new orange border around it and it flashes. You guys will also notice that some events that we decided want to be more rewarding in Dread Nightmare will now actually give you a temporary morale boost. So if you're like killing a Juggernaut, or you fight off a Plague Heart, or you defeat a hostile Enclave, you'll now actually get community-wide temporary morale for a little while to sort of give you that extra pause of, oh, we did it, we actually accomplished something, let's celebrate, let's feel good for a while, before the game starts to dial back up that apocalyptic sense of dread.
Because when you're playing at a higher difficulty level, morale is natively lower all the time, right?
Right.
Everyone's suffering from just a little bit more existential dread because they know what difficulty modes you're playing on. And
The world
they're
just seems scarier to them.
why did you bring me here?
Yeah, in the same way that a threat is also permanently increased while you're in higher difficulty modes, which will generally mean you have more sieges to deal with and that those sieges will have more zombies in them.
That makes sense. Okay, so moving on to community management in the patch notes. New Red Talon recruits can no longer receive the backup a good example hero bonus. So this is something, it was actually called out to me by a player on Discord. He contacted me directly and was like, how come my Red Talon guys keep getting this useless hero bonus called good example? And it was actually an accident. A good example is the hero bonus you get if by chance none of your traits give you any particular hero bonus. Good example is just sort of the backup choice. And so most characters don't get it because they've got several traits that give them several different hero bonuses. But Red Talon people in particular, each one of them has only one option at a hero bonus because that's the way the traits work. And so they were getting good example all the time. And so we had to directly disable that for them to make sure you don't get them. So your Red Talon people should be more valuable from now on, which is a change from the last update we did where we made them all less valuable. So we're moving.
You mean it more balanced?
More balanced. I mean more balanced. And so we're pushing them back up again a little bit. Another big one. This was a community request. Remember how your followers used to always disappear, particularly when you came home? Now, I don't know if we've actually found every case that could cause a follower to disappear. What are you guys doing?
I don't want to go down the steps.
So this is one of our new plague hordes. You used to find little versions of these just around plague hearts. In Nightmare, you will find large hordes of plague zombies all the time, pretty much right away.
So you'll notice that Brant is playing a little more stealthily than he usually does on the stream. This is something I think everyone will find themselves doing in Nightmare mode.
Yep.
But anyway,
when I do this. Hey guys!
Oh no.
What are you
Oh no,
doing?
see, and they heard him from all the way over here.
Thanks,
And
Mike.
they're going to run
But-
all the way to where he shot.
But guess what I'm doing? I'm gonna
Running away?
I'm gonna break contact, and they're gonna stop moving towards my base like they were.
Yep.
Oh, okay, that works.
Yeah, no, it's a lot more rewarding in Nightmare to try and figure out what the zombies think is a threat to them, and then to play them off themselves a little bit. I've definitely gotten out of fights by just running
Oh,
around
God.
buildings a bunch of times, or
Okay, those guys didn't get fooled.
climbing up ladders and waiting.
So they will chase you for a much longer time, right?
Yeah, when you sprint, you make more noise walking, which is one of the reasons that stealth gets so much play in this. If you see like the little noise pings on the minimap, those are your best idea of how much noise you're making at any given point in time.
So, the thing about followers disappearing, I just want to finish that thought.
ahead.
I don't know if we've caught every single thing that was causing followers to vanish, but definitely we found one of them, one major one, which was we can only actually keep about 6 characters around your base with active AI running around in the world at any one time. And so we usually prioritize. We say, okay, we're going to have these characters visible, and these other characters, they're not visible unless you call for them, unless you need them, if you switch to them or something like that. The problem was we weren't listing your follower on that high priority list, and so oftentimes if you had a big community and you brought your follower anywhere near the base, the follower would just wink out of existence in order to make room for people to be running around in your base. So now that doesn't happen. Now your follower is a high priority person all the time, and that shouldn't be happening anymore.
Nope.
Oop, wrong button. You know what I'm not going to do?
Bash that door open.
I'm not going to bash that door open. I'm going to go actually check and see if the back door works.
This is another one of those things that people started to do in Nightmare mode that we never really did in the standard zone tuning, is that the noise you make when you smash through a door is actually pretty consequential now.
Oh, crap.
And Brant's just going to have to deal with it. And you could jump through a window if you wanted. Well, we'll see what happens.
Michael Stanley, there's currently not a way to bring an existing legacy character over into an existing game, but we have heard a lot of requests for that recently, and so that's something that's kind of on our list to consider. I'm not sure exactly what the technical constraints on that would be. Definitely letting you choose someone. It would be a UI challenge to try to make that possible, but we have heard you, and so
Oh,
It's something we're thinking about.
It's on our list of possibilities.
Oh,
we'll have to see what we can pull off.
Yep. Yeah, so here you can see the amount of zombies that were both in that house when Brant got there, heard him when he crashed through the door, and followed all the way to that source, and are now running to where they last heard him walking. So this is how you use firecrackers now, is when they're not completely locked onto you, but they have a clue, you can get them off your tail, but you got to be deliberate about it.
Brian, Blaze Experience wants to know what kinds of things are getting new influence bonuses now in the higher difficulty zones.
Gotcha. So we didn't change like what gives you influence, but the things that give you influence will give you more of it. So killing a plague heart will give you more. Killing a juggernaut will give you more. Because there are plague juggernauts now, when you kill the plague juggernauts, you'll get a bunch more. Ferals and screamers, I believe, also give you more. And generally, we expect that people will use trading a little bit more because you're going to be having a harder time finding weapons, you're going to have a harder time finding resources. And so the idea of giving you more influence on those things is both to make...
Oh, that didn't fool anybody.
Not those zombies. So the idea was to make those things a little bit more challenging to deal with, but then once you've actually won, to give you more of a reward, and then to let that reward solve problems for you that you now have that you didn't face before.
Young Quan wants to know, does this make the Daybreak DLC harder?
We didn't change anything about Daybreak in terms of like what you're actually experiencing in a round of Daybreak. It is, at least my belief, that some players who maybe have had a lot of prestige and were sitting on some clio weapons and weren't really sure what to do with them will suddenly find themselves with a lot of opportunities to benefit from that large stockpile of very powerful weapons if they want to try them out on Nightmare mode where the game is tuned up.
I am just really, really afraid to do anything.
Just gonna hang out in this roof for a minute.
I remember playing, testing out higher levels of Breakdown back in the day, doing a really similar thing, just wanting to hang out in a high place, not let anything touch me for a little bit.
Just breathe for a second.
Yeah. So this actually, it does bring back vibes of old school Breakdown.
But this is a
play.
stream, and we need to make it interesting, so I am going to make it interesting.
Bad decision time.
Well,
one gunshot. Like, you just look around all the different zombies.
Everybody
that are
went,
moving now.
oh, dinner.
So I'm going to skip over some of the items on the patch notes that are just minor bug fixes, taking things that were just a little bit broken and making them a little less broken. Most of them are things that most players haven't even experienced. One thing we did update, though, that Brian could probably talk about a little better than I could.
Probably.
The infirmary now displays the correct rate of meds usage when treating blood plague.
Yeah, there was a really fun thing where, in the long ago, when we were still working on this game before ship, we were trying to play with how long a day should be, and we found a tiny little bit of code that only got used to display the ongoing meds cost of a checked-in survivor that was not using the correct way of figuring out how long a day was. And so it was displaying the wrong number of meds consumed per day for a person who is checked in, and that is fixed now, which is good, because we expect you will be spending a lot more meds on checked-in survivors in dreaded nightmare zones.
Especially nightmare zones where the blood plague will kill you in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I've had a lot of, fevered sprint home to get my character checked in so they don't die while I'm playing as them from blood plague.
So here's another huge thing in the patch notes. We get questions about this all the time. The stealth skill. When you're sneaking with the stealth skill, there was a serious problem where your character would not hold still. You would just keep creeping around in random directions. And it was really, really annoying. And it was just an accident. We were changing something about the way that the character works, and we accidentally busted the stealth skill.
You've got a stack. You could just run.
There's just nothing here that is good.
So what I'll do sometimes in this circumstance is just eat the hit from walking off the cliff, because it's better than aggroing the zombie, or we could just
shoot things in the head.
No.
Make a bunch of noise.
That's always the answer.
Now is Oh, jeez.
They're
What?
waiting
There were
for
more?
you. Your friends just wanted to say hi.
Okay, that was extremely efficient.
Brant's got some practice with the firearms, you see.
I do have.
So anyway, the stealth skill, messing around with your character, making you creep around for no reason, that's fixed now. That doesn't happen anymore. So thank you for calling it out so many times. Really put it up high on our priority lists.
Yep.
And we got it done. So that's it.
Oh, jeez. Fight's not over. I'm going to run, though.
We had a problem before with Clio weapons not giving the right kind of experience when you hit zombies with them.
Yep.
Like they wouldn't give you the experience you needed to upgrade your late level fighting skills, like sword play and striking, and now they do. So that's fixed. This is another popular community request. Your flashlight that's hooked onto your backpack. When you get into your car, your character remembers whether you wanted the flashlight on or off. Instead of basically turning off their flashlight every time they get in the car and making you turn it back on again when you got back out, now they turn it. If you had it on when you got in the car, they turn it back on when you get out of the car. So the character remembers the state of their flashlight.
So very shortly we should see an example of that new rucksack.
Oh, right.
Either
Yeah.
here or somewhere else in this building.
I'll be ready to take us off the screen if we're in the way.
There it is.
Look at that. It's
See?
got a little
So
heartbeat.
that's how you can know. This is like, you can see it's red in the top left. Your stockpile is depleted. Your community needs this. And just in case that wasn't clear, we can now remind you where your eyes are in the inventory.
Yep.
So you can see the little red cross symbol up
It
there.
was
that
basically saying, yeah, you need meds, jerk.
Oh, awesome Twitch dude has noticed the ACOG scope got a updated visual.
Ha!
Nice.
Excellent.
We appreciate that you noticed.
Yes.
There was
Thank you for
actually
noticing.
there was another change we made too to the way that the guns work. You'll notice that a lot of the firearms in the game, characters used to be holding them in kind of awkward positions. Their hands wouldn't
Like
be
the front hand would be a little bit off in some weapons, especially.
Yeah, and so Seth Saltz, one of our technical animators, he came up with a different way to manage that. I don't understand it because it's not my area, but basically it gave the animators the ability to make all of that better. And so the hands should be in much better places now on the weapons. It should look more like the character is genuinely holding that weapon.
Now the question is... Nope.
So we are halfway through the stream right now, so I want to remind people there's going to be a giveaway near the end of this stream. So stick around. We're giving away actually one of our rarest prizes, which is a Bronto Gas Jacket. So definitely
Shouldn't
stick
we,
around for that.
if we're halfway through, shouldn't we do one giveaway now?
We're
is
doing
that...
that's the only giveaway we're doing. So
Oh,
I usually
okay.
save it till about 15 minutes.
Oh,
till
the
end.
other... Wait, I thought we were doing... we're giving them all the stuff away
We're
at
giving
some
away
time.
lots of stuff. Yeah, we're giving away lots of
one
stuff at once.
single
I am
giveaway.
a simple person. Oh, that was pure reflex.
Brilliance.
Oh,
Pure
that
brilliance.
that was reflex, and I'm going to pay the ultimate price.
So if you open another container while you've got the rucksack on your back, there's one thing I want to check out. I don't know if you're about to get murdered by zombies.
I am, but
They're gonna try.
Oh.
No, you don't. No, don't get murdered for this. But there's a new
well,
feature.
the smart thing to do is a fast search.
Okay, there we go.
always
Okay,
ends
so
well.
so one thing you can see.
Sorry.
No, take care of that guy. That's cool.
That's taken
But
care of.
Okay, so open up a container and then highlight your rucksack. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is the perfect place to do it.
These are containers that I can deal with.
Yeah.
Also, check out the nice large horde in the distance.
Yeah, there's a big horde.
couple armored guys, couple fast, couple slow.
Hordes are no joke.
So one thing we noticed, and this is actually a long, ongoing thing we're still working on. We only made one little change in this update. Go look at your rucksack. Like hover over your rucksack.
Sure.
Okay, so you notice break open is available on the rucksack while you've got a. Don't do it because you need the meds.
Yeah, we do.
But it used to be so basically every version of our inventory, whether you're searching a container or trading with someone or opening your supply locker or just opening your inventory by itself, those are all effectively different menus and they have different rules. And so there's lots of places where we missed opportunities to let you do things with certain objects while your inventory was open. So for instance, when you had a container open, you could no longer break down the rucksack that's on your back. Now you can. And we're actually doing a more comprehensive look through other parts of the game where inventory items just didn't offer all of the options that they should, and we're trying to correct that. So that's, for future updates, we're probably going to make more advances like that. But this was one that cried out to us that just felt, a lot of the time you open up a container, there's a rucksack in there, you want to get it, but you've already got a rucksack on your back that you don't care very much about.
Right.
And it was tough. And so now you can break open from right here.
Yep. Somebody's asking, was it Vasinum777 is asking, what is different about the sieges in the new difficulties? So if we go over to our handy threat level meter, you will see that there is a +5 from the teeming zombie population in the Nightmare Zone. And that's just always there. And so you're always going to have to deal with that extra 5 threat, which means that sieges will happen more frequently. And also, when you do get sieges, they will tend to be larger. So it's the same system, but you're acting as if you've just always got the extra threat that comes purely from the environment around you. Also, you'll notice I'm stealthing. I let go of the controller. Nothing. That's all working as intended.
I think it might have only happened when the character actually had the stealth skill.
Ah.
So we might not have proven anything just
It'd be
then.
great to get the stealth skill. It is super valuable in Nightmare.
Good luck getting home.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. Maybe. Or we'll go
There's
to...
no cars anywhere.
There's going to be some somewhere.
I mean, there was none in my search radius.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. We got this nice handy feral between us and our mission objective. I'm sure that'll be fine. Yeah, let's flip it back. See what we can do. We got some fireworks, a Molotov, a Band-Aid, a painkiller, and 2 snacks.
It's one
It's a zombie picnic.
non-branded Hello Kitty Band-Aid.
Perfect.
Hello, it's Hola Gato.
Perfect.
So
It's my favorite off-brand.
I can't remember if this was Han Solodolo's question from back in the day, but we've had a few questions about this. Plague Hearts drop loot now. They drop
do.
new loot, and
do.
Brian's the one who knows about that. So we should ask him how that works.
Sure, you'll find a plague heart, and then you'll go loot it, and there will be new stuff in there.
So how is it different as you go from standard
That
zones?
was amazing.
Standard zones to dread
dread
zones to nightmare zones.
zones.
Like, is there better loot as you go up the difficulty scale?
So there's more loot. There are classes of loot that only show up in Dread and Nightmare, and then there's a class loot that only shows up in Nightmare.
Like
when you're
rare
in
guns, that kind of thing?
So the weapons are generally the same pool at all of them. We add a rare consumable when you're in Dread, and then in Nightmare you'll actually get a resource rucksack.
Oh, wow.
Because they are so scarce by that point,
Ugh.
and the threat, like the relative amount of threat a Plague Heart poses is so high in Nightmare that we wanted to give you that as a way out of like, I'm just out of resources, I need stuff, and I can't find it, and everything's scary. And you know what? If you can take down that Plague Heart, you'll probably get a little bit of everything you might need. And so it's a harder fight. There's more at stake, but there's also more to gain than there ever was before. Let's see if I can pick these off without aggroing any of them.
So, Brian, did you know much about this one bug? I never actually saw this in action. I just wrote a patch note for it. Apparently, we fixed a rare case where you could hit a zombie with an unexploded grenade and knock all their limbs off.
That's amazing.
How is that a bug?
I think I've seen that one time where that's not a stealth kill, where they'll bounce off the zombie. No, if any of you have a video of that, I would love to see it. That sounds
That's not a bug.
extraordinary.
I mean, you can't get one now because we fixed the bug, but if you have one lying around, that'd be great to see.
Minor note for the guys that know what we're looking at right now. So the hidden containers that we've snuggled into little corners around the map, they're all still there. There are going to be less super cool weapons in these, and it's going to be more likely to be skill books or trade items.
Just in the higher difficulty
Oh, look
levels,
at
right?
that.
You haven't changed
Correct,
the
we did
material.
not touch them in Dread,
Drop
so-
some stuff.
Just a little bit. I'm going to get this crossbow. Crossbows are awesome in the higher difficulty zones, but now I have to leave something behind.
Oh, just leave the
comma.
melee. It's gonna fall apart.
Let's see, how busted is this thing? I'm going to switch to that one and actually leave behind this hammer, as much as it kills me, because I got that sweet, sweet durability.
So another thing that Brian would probably know a lot more about than me, we fixed a bug that was making the Plague Hearts too sensitive to explosions. So are they all harder to fight now, even in standard zones?
Specifically with explosions, yes. So some of you may remember that when the game shipped, the amount of explosives it would take was higher than it had been for a couple of months. At some point, we had changed something deep, deep down the technical rabbit hole that affected the multiplier for damage for explosives on Plague Hearts. And so we took care of that, and then that will be new for players, or at least it'll go back to the way it was at launch for players with the Choose Your Own Apocalypse update. So it should no longer be 1 C4, it'll now be 2 C4. It's not a huge change, but it crosses some thresholds that mean you have to fight some amount of zombies, even with the highest tier stuff.
Now, a bunch of our patch notes are about radio commands that basically we went through and during one of the previous updates, we made Enclave benefits a lot better, and that included a lot of radio commands. But there were a few mistakes we made in the data about those radio commands, and they weren't giving you as much stuff as they were supposed to.
Yeah,
and,
like more repair kits and rucksacks, I believe.
Yeah, it's like basically things that don't normally arrive in stacks. We're getting not quite enough stuff.
I see.
And so we fixed that. So they're giving more stuff, and also the sniper support radio command. You can now trigger it from inside a vehicle, so you can drive
that's
slowly
awesome.
around and have sniper and set off a sniper that's just killing all the zombies around your car.
I have not done that, and now I desperately want to try that. Minor note on crossbows, we actually slightly tweak the breaking of bolts in Nightmare and Dread, so you will lose more of them than you do in standard zones. Not enough that you don't want to use a crossbow anymore, but enough that they don't quite feel like they have infinite ammo the way they can if you get really lucky in the base game.
Oh, so here's another really popular community request. So it used to be that when you were playing in multiplayer as a guest in somebody else's game, your characters wouldn't heal. The character you're playing would get tired and they would get injured, and you'd swap them out and play a fresh character, and they would get tired and injured. And eventually you'd get through all of your characters, making them all tired and injured, and then you're kind of stuck.
Yep.
That doesn't happen anymore. Now you get to use whatever healing advantages your host has, whatever they've built at their infirmary and stuff, you benefit from that. So your characters that you're not playing at that moment, they all heal at the same rate as the characters of the host.
Okay, this is a good question. How do we keep getting plague samples after blood plague is removed from town? With the blood plague jug,
Blood plague juggernauts are still wandering around delivering blood plague.
They actually are guaranteed to drop at least one sample and will often drop more than one.
So you'll have to kill like 5 of them to make something. So go ahead and do that.
But it'll be there if you got
It's
a
all good.
pathologist.
It's all good.
If you really want to challenge for yourself, try knocking out a blood plague juggernaut with a crossbow. You will get more plague samples from him if more of the damage that was dealt to him was dealt through bolts. And if you really feel like a masochist, you get one of those repeating crossbows and hit him with some 30 or 40
Pincushion.
tiny little
porcupine.
needles, and eventually he'll go down and leave you a wealth of plague samples.
Blaze Experience is wondering if the sieges changed at all.
We did change the passive threat sort of starting point, but we didn't change the mechanics of how sieges work or the nature of what shows up. Now, that being said, I'm guessing some of you players have not seen sieges at the highest levels of threat, probably because you're too good at managing it. And so the slight nudge we gave towards the amount of threat in the world will make it more likely for you to see the highest end of sieges that might not have come up before. Gotta love that dental floss. Highly valuable in the apocalypse.
Jaja Baron wants to know, can you still call in all of your special edition supply drops and vehicles and Independence Pack stuff?
Yeah, let's
like
talk about
before?
that. So those things are still there. They will cost more. The things that would have been free are now not free. It's definitely our intent that you still get to have value for everything that you've paid for. It's super important to us that these things still feel like they're yours and you've gotten them. But we also don't want to throw out the balance of the game by giving you giant piles of weapons and vehicles straight off the bat with no investment. And so we tried to balance them off with an influence cost. For some of you folks that are coming in with your 9999 influence that you've been sitting on for 3 months, this is a great opportunity to dump some of that in exchange for a measured amount of benefit that we feel is a reasonable value for Nightmare Mode and Dread Zone.
Dylan Carr, yes. The answer to your question is yes. We've answered that before. You probably joined us late. If you have an existing community and you decide to switch to one of the Dread Zones or Nightmare Zone, then yes, all that stuff carries over.
Yep.
You have to keep all of your things.
It's like you're moving to a new version of the same map.
Yep.
So we also, another thing on our patch notes, we reduced instances where clients driving a car could be tethered to the host, then arrive in the middle of an obstacle and immediately explode.
Not ever a fun thing to happen.
Yeah, but we only said we reduced instances of it. Cars are the most volatile thing in our game, and many of you know there's still bugs we haven't solved with those. Lots of spontaneous car combustion. It's great. It's one of my favorite bugs in the game. But we are trying to fix them as fast as we can. The problem is they're about physics, and physics is really hard to replicate. It's really hard to figure out what's going on sometimes. So we've reduced instances of this one problem. We're still looking into some of the others.
Can't go that way.
But we're trying to give you guys the fixes as fast as we can.
Don't run down hills in Nightmare Mode. It's not a good idea.
So
You just broke Mike's leg.
I made one.
Screened it.
I made one minor change to a mission. Apparently, the Eagle Eye sniper rifle mission, it was
This is
scripted
fun.
in this way where we were specifically scripting the number of bullets that were going to arrive in the magazine when you got that rifle. And I didn't remember that when Brian went through and reduced the magazine sizes of all of the 50 caliber rifles, that I needed to update the mission to match. And so when you first got that sniper rifle on the Eagle Eye mission, it would have like 12 rounds in its magazine that had room for only 4 or 5.
I think that one actually came from the community. I think somebody on Reddit found that out and was like talking to us about it in a thread where they were talking about like which weapons were missing the +1 magazine capacity on them, which is in the list of things too small to give a patch note to, but which you might discover in the Choose Your Own Apocalypse update.
So yes, we fixed that. We also fixed a bug that was causing bloater deaths not to be counted properly for some mission objectives.
Yeah.
So that could be an ugly one, and that should not be happening anymore. Yes. And then finally, the rest of the patch notes
There's
are just
that
like
feral.
it's the stuff we're doing all the time. We fixed places where you could fall through the world. We fixed obstacles you could get hung up on and awkwardly crash in your vehicle.
Nope.
We improved multiplayer stability and made some changes, some improvements to hostile human AI. And that's all the list. But we're still working on this game. There's going to be
He's not
other
having
lists
it.
like this
No.
in the future. And we're just so glad you guys are still playing the game, and we've still got stuff to fix, and we got people with opinions who give us feedback. We want to keep making this game better and better over time.
Yep.
And I think it's time to do a giveaway, but I forgot to put the trivia question on the screen, so I'm just going to have to talk
Oh,
about it.
jeez.
It's all right. We're gonna go hug a feral for a little bit while you think about that.
All right, so here's what we're doing. Here's the way our giveaways work. We might have a few extra people who have not usually, hello, Farrell, participated in our giveaways in the past. So here's how it works. First off, we're giving away pins like this.
Show off.
We're also
Will you
giving
take
away
that stuff home, please?
Maybe.
You're making me nervous.
I'll think about it.
Clio drop water bottles. We're giving away Clio drop water bottles, and we're giving away a jacket, a Bronto gas jacket. And the way it works is, I'm going to ask you guys a trivia question. It'll be probably an easy trivia question. If you know the answer, pipe in the chat, say what the answer is, and then Megan, who is wonderfully moderating our chat, she's going to sort of choose among like the top dozen or so, the first dozen or so answers on each of our platforms, on Twitch, on Mixer, and on YouTube. She's going to grab those the names of those viewers and do a random drawing, because we didn't want, if people have different amounts of lag watching the stream, we didn't want the lag to be what determines who wins and who loses.
Oh, jeez.
Whoa, hello.
I found another feral, guys.
So there's going to be some randomness involved, but if you get the answer in as fast as you can, that raises your chances of getting a prize. So the question that I was going to ask was, name the enemy from Daybreak that is making an appearance in the core game for the very first time in Choose Your Own Apocalypse. So what is the enemy that used to only be in Daybreak who is now going to be in the core game in Dread Zones and Nightmare Zones out there for the very first time? So throw out your answers.
Everybody
and
wants to see the blood. Jeez.
looks like a lot of people know the answer.
A lot of people have a clue here. He's got wonderfully new audio for when he makes his big old yell. Leaves behind a great AoE plague damage zone.
So Megan's going to be keeping track of the answers you guys give. She'll be making some random determinations, and then some random people who knew the right answer are going to get some prizes. So good luck, everybody. In the meantime, Bilbo wants to know, is there an in-game way to take a screenshot? So if you're playing on PC, yeah, the print screen method that you're using, that's what I do too when I'm taking screenshots of bugs here in the office. I don't think we have an in-game way to do it. If you're playing on an Xbox, the Xbox has like a Xbox take screenshot.
Center button.
Yeah, that center button will let you do it. Yeah. So there are ways to do it on an Xbox. I don't think there's any special built-in way to do it on PC.
Gotta wake Tanya up for the night shift.
Leon Anagers wants to know his pre-order bonuses that he got. Is that still free, or is that cost stuff like the Independence Pack stuff costs?
There's a small cost on all that stuff. None of it's completely free, but the stuff that came with pre-orders is relatively low in terms of what you need to spend.
Speaking of which, if you guys don't know yet, we're running a Mixpot giveaway right now.
Yep.
And those pre-order bonuses that basically were impossible to get now, you can get them. Basically, if you just watch our stream anytime during the next week while we're streaming State of Decay 2 or hosting somebody else who's streaming State of Decay 2, which we'll be doing a lot of because we're in the middle of Decay Fest, which is an awesome community event. If you watch this channel, you'll see a lot of those the people who are playing the game for Decay Fest hosted. Anyway, you do that on Mixer while you're logged in with your Mixer ID, and you'll get automatically entered to get codes for all of those pre-order bonuses. So if you missed out the first time around, you can totally get all these interesting vehicles and weapons and stuff that used to be exclusive to people who bought the game from certain retailers. So even if you don't win the giveaway, we
need to find something to
right
make this
now.
an interesting. Show them.
We need to get a
get a
climactic
yeah,
finale.
We need to show them what a really bad situation looks like.
Might need to go fight a plague heart.
So Red Loaded Gamer wants to know whether the durability of cars has changed.
There was also one at the. There's also one. There was one there.
Somewhere over there.
Right here.
Yeah.
Hey Brian,
Hi, Geoffrey.
has the durability of cars changed in the new difficulty
I'll take
levels?
Go ahead. So, yes, under the hood, we didn't actually change the number, but the amount of damage the cars take from various sources is now higher. It's especially higher from zombies that are grappling onto the car. So if you've ever jumped into a car just to buy yourself a few moments and eat a couple of consumables, you can, but it will rapidly degrade when the zombies are railing on it. The amount of damage you take from running over zombies went up a little bit, and the amount of damage you take from slamming into Jersey barriers went up a little bit as well, but not a ton.
Arky Gamecast wants to know the co-op rewards for playing in somebody else's game. Have those been changed at all at higher difficulty levels?
They have not, but you will be able to earn influence at a faster rate in Nightmare if you are particularly ambitious. And so the rate at which you can earn them might be different if you're bringing a lot of skill and a lot of power into a Nightmare mode, but the actual reward items themselves are not different.
Come on.
You just have the worst luck.
I do. And how many people are in here already? If I'm taking on a
One.
Plague Heart, I need guns.
Need some firearms.
All right, we got some winners, guys. So, first off, the people who are going to win the pin and the Clio drop water bottle. On Mixer, it's Omen Q Blood. On Twitch, it's Kedron71. And on YouTube, it's Memento Mori. So congratulations, guys. Megan's going to try to get in contact with you guys. And if you have trouble reaching her, or if she has trouble reaching you, definitely try to email her at social@undeadlabs.com. I think she'll tell you if I'm wrong about that, because I could totally be wrong.
Nope.
But in any case, she's going to contact you guys, going to set up your prizes, and one of you is going to get a jacket. And you know who that is? That's Omen Q Blood from Mixer. So Omen Q Blood,
Congratulations.
It's an awesome
you are
jacket.
going to get a Bronto gas jacket. So congratulations, and yes, social@undeadlabs.com. That's where you go if communications horribly break down between you and Megan right now, and you're not able to get your prize. Contact us. We will help you. If you are not one of those three people, don't try to scam us, please, because that will make us very sad and will make you a bad person. And yeah, baby feral is going to cry about what a bad person you are. So we have got 9 minutes left. If folks have any remaining questions, we've gone through all the patch notes. You got one here?
Quick one I can see. Kermit Memes asks if you will still get more influence in Dread mode, or is it Nightmare only? The increase is smaller in Dread, but there is still an increase in Dread versus a standard zone. Let's see, what else do we have, guys? Go ahead and hit us with your questions. That's what the last few minutes of the stream are for.
Yeah, that's when you blitz us with questions. We can't
there you go.
possibly
It's your
answer
new
them.
toy.
This is actually
What?
very apropos because I just went and bought one of those on Sunday.
Like in real life?
Yeah.
Nice.
Came with a rucksack of ammo, so you're
It did
locked and
not
loaded.
come with a rucksack of ammo.
Rabbit wants to know if we snuck any Easter eggs into this update. I know, I'm always sneaking new names and nicknames into the game every single update without permission.
That's definitely true.
So there'll be more of those. I just don't know what they are.
A lot of times, a lot of the art-related stuff requires us to have the bandwidth to do new art, and many of the updates we've been doing haven't required any of that. So I haven't put any new art-related ones in. So, and I definitely would avoid any rabbit-related ones whatsoever, because I wouldn't want Rabbit to think that I'm giving him a shout out.
Exactly.
would be-
Though, if you want to know who he's talking about, and you're watching this on YouTube, just a few videos back, we actually did a co-stream with Rabbit. You can check that guy out and how he plays.
Definitely a friend of the lab.
Question I want to hit. Blaze Experience, what's up, man? Is asking, when switching maps using researching new territories, do you still get to choose any map from the map exits? You do. It'll pre-select that little menu you saw, the new one, to whichever one was labeled on the map when you drive to it, but you will be able to change from there. So you still have to spend some time and some influence to unlock a map move for a given community, but once you get to the edge of the map, you can pick wherever you want to go.
Sixo asked, did all material conversion get bumped up? I noticed it takes 2 fuel to fill a gas can now.
The increases for the different costs are different for different resources. Fuel was one where we wanted you to be a little bit more deliberate about it. Ammo was definitely a big one. Materials a little bit less so, meds a little bit less so, but in general, the decision to spend resources to give yourself stuff should require a little bit more thought and should be a little bit less just easy to give yourself lots and lots of toys this time.
Yeah.
Now that is a different increase in Dread than Nightmare. Dread is not nearly as aggressive. With Nightmare, it's really pushed to the limits of where we think the game holds up.
Hansel Ladola wants to know if we played the new Toe Jam and Earl game.
I've heard that exists. I
Oh
have
boy,
not played it.
is this like
So-
2 different hordes?
I don't know. It might be.
There's
So-
Your car is not going to survive backing up through that
Okay.
horde.
All right. Well,
That might be a big splashy finale.
Yeah, I mean the explosion. will help.
Good thing I'm sitting next to a plague heart too. Oh, and did I just honk my horn?
Ladies and gentlemen, Brant's excellent decision-making skills.
So I should say something about Toe Jam and Earl, because I haven't played the new one yet, but I'm excited about it because Greg Johnson, who is the designer of Toe Jam and Earl, the creator of Toe Jam and Earl, actually, he was my inspiration to become a game designer.
Really?
Because he's friends with my dad, and he came over and stayed at my house when I was a kid.
What a
And-
surreal experience.
And I spent days, like, when I was reading at night, I would be reading the Toe Jam and Earl design document. And learning all about how designs are written.
I am
and
envious of your childhood.
how games are. Yeah, I had a crazy, weird childhood.
Oh no, in the fire!
This was
It's supposed to blow up.
this was good decision making
101.
all the way around.
So, huge shout out to Greg Johnson. Thank you for inspiring me when I was a kid. And and I should check out the new Toe Jam and Earl game because I love Toe Jam and Earl.
Awesome.
We used to imitate the monsters around my house all the time. We're like, la la la, all the time.
I'm sure your parents found that not at all annoying,
Boogie, 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 boogie.
especially not that one.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Oh wait, hey Brian, thanks for loading me up with no
Anything that explodes
Anything
or lights
that
anything on
explodes.
fire. I mean, you know, I aim to please. I want to set you up for success. Let me get a little closer.
I can hit it.
Technically.
Sixo is like, gotta love Brant's driving. I think it's 100% serious and sincere.
That's exactly how Brant drives in real life too.
All right.
So PC Gaming wants to know, is the Blood Plague Juggernaut going to get into normal mode, or is it only in Dread and Nightmare Zones?
So the Blood Plague Juggernaut appearing outside of Daybreak happens explicitly and exclusively in Dread Zones and Nightmare Zones. You will not see him in a standard zone.
Oh boy, how much time do we have left? Because it's gonna.
We got like 4 minutes. You can kill
gonna-
yourself anytime you like.
It's gonna inform when I actually
Video
go back
games.
down this ladder.
Hey, go back down the ladder now. We can, we can end this anytime.
Because we can run directly into the Plague Heart and hit it with that KSG.
We've actually got a little bit of a release party brewing back there.
Oh,
and,
right. We're going to like miss our own party because we're talking to you guys instead.
I know,
We'd
man.
rather hang out with the fans than eat cake.
Is it cake?
I don't know. I assumed. It may or may not be cake. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Daisy went and got us something. I don't know what it is yet.
Special.
Devil's Feline is like, cake!
Yes.
That's the voice I heard it in. I don't know if that's how you meant
That
it.
is
to be
now
Devils.
the voice.
But Soviet Manhunters has reminded us that the cake is, of course,
A lie.
a lie.
Thanks, video games. Well, now the brand is out of bullets. Let's go fight the Plague Heart.
Oh,
Yep.
interesting.
Sounds
so
like a good time to do it.
Yeah.
Roll Call wants to know, will you guys add distance meter for orange mission markers as we do for custom markers in the future? That's an interesting question. We actually, we've been experimenting with ideas of different ways to show mission markers in the world. We've got some very early experimental stuff going
there
on
another?
right now over
so.
here, but it's
Oh.
not in this update.
Oh,
So,
good.
so pay attention for future updates. We'd
Oh,
love to
boy.
share what we've got.
Yeah, so while we're fighting the Plague Heart, and we were dealing with a Screamer, we then found another Screamer, and the second Screamer brought in an armored horde to the Plague Heart that we were already out of bullets fighting from when we cleared out the house for the first time. So welcome to Nightmare Mode.
I like you're doing this whole thing with a rucksack on your back.
Well, there's a method to my madness, and I'll show you why. I'm keeping it with me, just so I can go like this and see
You
if
need to break it open?
Maybe get some shotgun shells.
Hopefully, I'll get some shotgun shells.
Nope, you can throw the bullets at them. Maybe find a hammer and just kind of hit the back of the thing.
No.
Oh, hey guys, apparently, is it Devil's Feline's birthday today?
What?
Oh,
That's what people are
then.
saying. I don't know. I don't know if I should trust these people.
Happy birthday,
birthday.
to you.
happy
Devil's
birthday
feeling.
to you. Another fun thing, if you get yourself treed on a car like this in Dread and Nightmare, if you guys check out the minimap, the zombies will make a lot more noise now.
They are
and if
so
you're going to
mad.
try and hang out here until you've shot all the problems, there will be many more zombies than there were in standard zones. And you may need to do what Brant's thinking about and run away.
Run away?
I said thinking about.
You should.
When
be
has that
you
solved
should at
any
least be thinking
problems?
about it.
In Nightmare Zones, all the time.
I got my soda drink.
Great.
Oh, and some blood plague to finish it off.
Just a bit. Let's see if we should get bit. Show the players just how bad it is. Those guys are all dead.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I can't go inside.
It's true.
All right, we got 1 minute left. How
Can
dead
he
can you
do
get?
it? Probably not. Oh yeah, the cloud from the blood plague hearts
Yep.
will now also give you more blood plague.
Ow. Oh, that did nothing.
The goggles.
They do nothing. My eyes. Oh, good. Melee weapon's about to break.
Yeah, just a little bit. Fatal 101 asks, if you move difficulty and you're on a big base, does it take you to the normal small one once you switch difficulty? Yes, it is like moving maps, and so you're going to wind up in the starter house for whatever map you move to.
Oh, hey.
But you get to keep all of your influence and stuff like that. So if you've got enough to move to another base
You can just
really
go
quickly, you can
take
go
care
do
of
it.
that. Yep.
You still got to kill all the zombies inside, though.
Yep.
Oh, no.
This is fine. We're all fine here.
So
Oh, he
How
didn't
are
even
you?
die yet.
I think a good last question to answer is Dragon Wolf 15, who's asking, are you going to have any
Oh,
more
boy.
major DLC?
Oh, goodness.
So the Choose Your Own Apocalypse update is only one of 2 things that we've already announced. Now that this is out, the next thing you have to look forward to is Trumbull Valley. Now, we haven't said hardly anything about what Trumbull Valley is. Basically, it's a new experience in a familiar setting, and that's all we're saying. And so you guys are going to have to hang out a little bit longer to find out more details about Trumbull Valley. But
Just don't hang out where Brant is on top of a
Yeah,
car,
this is a
because
bad
then you'll be
place to hang out and
surrounded
wait.
by
I don't know
zombies.
what you guys are talking about. I'm on my way home.
What's that? You're gonna do what?
I'm gonna go home.
What's that? You're gonna run? What's
we've
that?
had a few people ask us
I can't go home.
whether we're still supporting State of Decay 2 after this update, and we
Yeah,
absolutely are.
I can't.
Yep.
So there's plenty of State of Decay 2 left to come.
That is the end.
And here we go. This is the end of the stream. So, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Oh,
the
here we
Dread
go. That's our second achievement that we got.
Yep, he called it. That was the one other achievement he was going to get.
Yeah,
You can
Rabbit.
see the future.
Rabbit, that's me running, buddy.
So, thank you so much, Brant, for giving us a tour of the Nightmare Zone. Thank you so much, Brian, for telling us how everything works. And thank you all for being here. And we
I
are
appreciate you guys.
we are so happy to have this audience here who's been waiting for this update for a long time. We're happy to bring it to you. We can't wait to see what you guys do with it. And we're going to go to our release party. So we'll see you guys later.
Thanks,
for hanging
guys.
out with
You're
us,
the
everybody.
best. Appreciate it.
And now we have 15 seconds of a screen with our voices behind it.
All right.
Precious
Well,
second.
there's way too many people to.
I mean, how will we tell them all of our secrets? That's not enough time. They'll never know.
Happy
It's just-
birthday,
it doesn't-
Devils.
It won't work.
Peachy, love you.